What if I told you there is a tribe where a young girl can marry 2, even 3, 4 husbands in a single day, and no man, not even her father, may object? This is not a myth, it's a real tradition of the Wodabe tribe, and one boy, Gali, dared to change everything. From the house of creator's pen, I am your favorite griot and narrator, Chris D. Echiche. And this is another soul-gripping episode of African True Tale, where real culture, real life stories meet untold mysteries. Today, we uncover the strange fate of Gali, the boy whose forbidden dance awakened a buried curse. Because in Africa, even a glance can stir the ancestors. In the dust-wrapped heart of the Niger plains, there echoed a drum, but not just any drum. This is the call of Faraya, the sacred festival of husband choosing, where beauty doesn't just wed straight. Here in the lands of Wodabe, old ways speaks louder than time. Girls, some as young as 16, stand with grace on ancestral ground, and their eyes choose not 1, not 2, but 3, 4 men one single day as a husband they would marry for life. These men had come from villages far and wide to be chosen. Elders had said that the ones who dance with fire in their feet, whose eyes sparkled with humility on the heat, they are the ones chosen to father children for legacy, not just love. But this year's festival, the air smells different. A girl too beautiful and a boy too daring, and a dance that broke the ancient code. Gali, the son of Gambo Atala, is one of the 124 men who came to compete, but he knows deep down that he is not one of the favorites, for the girl he wants is no other than Princess Zaraya. She's not just any girl, she's the king's daughter. Her skin glows golden brown like evening clay. Her long braids whispers with beads, and her gaze can unravel pride from a warrior's. But the rules are clear of Faraya festival. Only 32 men will stand out from 124, and out of the 32 shall the princess pick 4 men for husbands, while the other maidens are allowed to pick from the remaining 28. What if the gods had other plans? What if the rhythm of fate needed one more beat? And Gali stood on the side, waiting and hoping that fate would smile. It was morning, but already the air throbbed with anticipation. Today was the D-Day of the drum, the eve before the grand finale of the Faraya festival, where the 124 men would have been selected into only 32 finalists. The great day when boys became men and men tested fate. Somewhere between the shadows of tradition and the call of passion, a young boy, his name Gali, stood at the edge of destiny. In the distance, village maidens rehearsed their grace, draped with beads and cowries, their anklets jingling like the sound of birds. Elders sat beneath the baobab tree, eyes closed, listening to the drums of beats and the whispers of ancestors. No maiden of royal blood should choose less than 4 husbands, as written in the bones and spirits of tradition. The ultimate festival began before the Faraya of the main events. Then the men began dancing, drums rolling, flickering in blazing stone. Gali joined in the contest, and then hoping that he wins the heart of Princess Zaraya, while she sits in royal apparel beside her father, King Duma, the great king of Wodabe, Niger. The sun bouncing off her golden glowing brown skin, her long bearded braids cascading like a river. Yes, Gali had seen her before, but never like this. The memory returned. It returned like the drum beats of the past. Let the eyes of the ancestors witness for 124 men, and let 32, only 32, be chosen. Under the watch of the sensational moonlight, it was the eve of the Faraya festival, a beautiful warm evening, and the dance had begun. He was already going on to lose the battle, but his heart still yearns for Princess Zaraya. In a dance floor graced with so much adorned, skillful and talented dancers, Gali could not compete. He was losing the dance. He stood far back, not invited, but burning. His dance steps would not align with the rhythm of the god's drum, and then he knew he was failing. He needed to do something fast. Gali was running out of time. He would miss Princess Zaraya, and this was his last chance. He had to pull off a stone. Strange, all gaze on Gali, women wondering, maidens baffled, children laughing. Gali's mother sneaked out of the watching crowd in shame, covering her face in disgrace. 62 able-bodied men, the best dancers, had been selected for the Faria festival. But Gali, he would stand his ground on the arena ground, never wanting to leave until he's got his prize, Princess Zaraya. Her eyes scanned through the arena, watched a bodied man. Her memory is triggering but couldn't catch. The drummers have stopped playing, the gods have stopped sounding the bars. It was abominable for a man to lose the battle of the dance floor and still stands at the arena when his name was not called. The consequences are grievous. The prize, he could be banished, sent to the evil forest, or beheaded on the wishes of the princess. Astonished and curious, she stood up. There goes Princess Zaraya, caught a glimpse of him and walked towards him at the arena. But what no one knew, not even Princess Zaraya's closest handmaidens or the king's guards, was that Gali and Princess Zaraya had already crossed paths before. Go back to yesterday. It was 2 months ago, before the previous festival. Gali was herding his father's cattle through the narrow forest trail. That was when suddenly Gali heard a voice, a scream of the Princess Zaraya, something that sounded like she was in danger, a panic ululation, a rush of hues and a cracking of branches. Princess Zaraya was walking back home from the neighboring village where she had gone to see the festival. She was flanked by 2 palace guards while Gali somewhere in the paths of the forest, shepherding his flocks. Then suddenly the air changed, the sheep grew uneasy, and suddenly a wild animal leaped. Guards tried to fight, but one by one they fled back, bloated and afraid. They fled for their lives, leaving Princess Zaraya to the fate of a naked danger. Remembering the ancient techniques of his father, Gali quickly dropped his herding staff. Eyes wide, he moved like spirits and dust for the technique of defense and breath. By the time Gali reached the hill bend, Princess Zaraya's golden royal scarf had torn. She ran like a rat, and behind her, a wild hyena, foaming and enraged. Her 2 guards gone. His father had trained him to hunt with rhythm. You must not kill in fear, but kill in truth. Gali took the spear and struck the beast. As Princess Zaraya tried to make another bend, that she was running out of gas, and pow! He was about to hit on her. Came Gali's spear, struck it from behind, and it fell. It was over. Princess Zaraya was speechless, not for fear, but for wonder. But a small boy, I owe you one, she whispered in trepidation and excitement, a kind of feelings, ecstasy and pain, as Gali walked her home for safety, and nothing as his clothes wrapped in dignity. Standing before Gali at the arena by the drums of the traditions, Princess Zaraya quickly remembered his face. His countenance became very memorable, and their words, I owe you one, began to pan through her skin. Then a fever of shivers began to travel down her spine of the promise she made to Gali the day her life was saved. The drums of the Faria festival had just begun its first phase, and the drums of fate had already turned against him. The chicken does not forget who spread grains before the rain, and no maiden forgets the weight of this moment. A conflict of interest arose. Gali, she quickly remembered. Sudden trepidation gripped her heart panting like a helpless deer. Now that Gali had once saved Princess Zaraya's life from the wild hyena, a moment she would never forget, and for which she swore to owe him one. Today, the sacred drum of tradition echoed against Gali, who was eliminated from the final selection, yet stood on the arena ground refusing to leave and kept dancing, a forbidden act in the land of Wudabe. Now the question burns: would Princess Zaraya, banned by duty and law, surrounded by kings, elders, would Princess Zaraya watch as Gali faces banishment or death, or would they fight it all together, standing with him toe to toe to challenge the very tradition that gave her crown? And this, my friend, is just the beginning, because Gali and Princess Zaraya have a bigger fish to fry, and the next drum beat could change everything. The eyes that sees the leopard must not blink until the lion learns to tell his tale. The untold version of the story to always be the sweetest.